The man was happily using the toilet when the next second, a spider crawled out from inside the bowl. It turned out that just the day before, a secret agent had ordered a scientist to send a newly bred batch of spiders by plane to the US for further research. If the scientist refused, he would get a taste of death. Left with no choice, the scientist complied. The next day, the spiders were packed into wooden crates and loaded into the cargo hold of a plane. However, shortly after takeoff, the plane experienced light turbulence, causing one of the crates to fall and tip over. The scientist, seated in the last row, grew increasingly worried, and for good reason. Suddenly, the crate was pushed open from the inside by the spiders, and countless of them began crawling out. Meanwhile, flight attendant Casa faintly heard some noise from the cargo hold and rushed over to investigate. Just then, the plane shook again, causing Casa to stumble and nearly fall. She had to crawl her way to the fallen crate, only to find it completely empty. As she stood up, a massive spider slowly approached her. Soon after, the plane stabilized. But just then, an alarm sounded, indicating the temperature in the cargo hold was abnormally high. The co-pilot immediately got up to check it out. Back in the cabin, the scientist was visibly uneasy, still worried about the spiders. He pleaded with flight attendant Carissa to let him check his crate, but Carissa tried to reassure him. It was just a minor bump, nothing to worry about. She reminded him not to move around on the plane. Left with no choice, the scientist sat back down. Elsewhere, the co-pilot entered the cargo hold, unaware of the spiders creeping up behind him. At the same time, a bearded man entered the restroom to put in his contact lenses. Unbeknownst to him, a tiny spider had crawled into the lens case. As he put the lens in his eye, he unknowingly inserted the spider too. Meanwhile, the co-pilot discovered a thick web in the cargo hold. As he stepped further inside, he was horrified to find Casa's corpse cocooned in spider silk. Suddenly, the sound of silk being spun came from behind. As he turned around slowly, he saw countless spiders crawling through the hold. His screams startled the passengers. Carissa, hearing the noise, made up a random excuse to calm them down. It didn't occur to her to go check the cargo hold. By now, the spiders had infiltrated the passenger cabin. One spider slowly descended on a thread, aiming to drop into a sleeping passenger's mouth. Fortunately, the man shifted in his sleep and accidentally knocked it aside. However, the number of spiders in the cabin was increasing. One even crawled into an old man's pant leg and bit him. Carissa quickly led the old man to the medical bay, while other passengers watched the chaos unfold with curiosity rather than concern. The scientist, meanwhile, began to realize that the spiders were indeed to blame. He grew increasingly anxious. Inside the cockpit, the alarm kept ringing. With the co-pilot still missing, the captain had no choice but to activate autopilot and investigate the cargo hold himself. There, he found two corpses and saw a swarm of spiders crawling everywhere. By the time he escaped back to the cabin, he was covered in blood. He shouted at the passengers to run to the back of the plane immediately. When Carissa saw the collapsed captain, she finally realized there were venomous spiders in the cargo hold. Just as she said that, the captain fainted. A chubby man then noticed the spiders approaching. Panic ensued as everyone fled to the rear of the plane. While fleeing, Carissa tripped and fell. A spider jumped onto her chest, and she trembled in terror. Fortunately, a quick-thinking passenger named Tyler rushed over and smashed the spider with a fire extinguisher. At that moment, another large spider crawled onto a man's back. Tyler heroically helped again, killing it with a suitcase. Other passengers joined in, grabbing whatever they could to crush the spiders. Eventually, with everyone working together, they managed to kill all the nearby spiders, but they were physically exhausted and mentally scarred. Tyler urged everyone to rest up, warning that greater danger could still be ahead. Just then, a gigantic spider entered first class and began attacking the wealthy passengers indiscriminately. One man, wearing headphones, was completely unaware of the chaos behind him. Poison dripped from the spider onto his shoulder. By the time he noticed and tried to escape, it was already too late.